of the California State University please come to order. Trustees, please unmute your audio for roll call. Ms. Matthews, please call the roll.
Thank you. Trustee Adamson.
Present.
Trustee Arambula.
Present.
Trustee Carney.
Present.
Chancellor Castro.
Present.
Trustee Clark.
Present.
Trustee Day.
Present.
Trustee Fagan.
Here.
Trustee Farrar.
Present.
Trustee Furstenberg.
Present.
Trustee Fong.
Here.
Chair Kimball.
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis. Trustee McGrory.
Present.
Governor Newsom. Trustee Ortiz-Morfitt.
Present.
Trustee Reyes.
Present.
Speaker Rendon. Trustee Sebelius.
Present.
Trustee Simon.
Present.
Trustee Steinhauser.
Present.
Superintendent Thurman. Chair Kimball, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. As most of you know, the CSU recently received a generous donation from novelist and philanthropist Mackenzie Scott. Honestly, the word generous doesn't quite cut it. Her gift of $135 million is the largest one-time donation in our university's 61-year history. Specifically, CSUN will receive $40 million, CSU Channel Islands $15 million, Cal Poly Pomona $40 million, and Cal State Fullerton $40 million. Each of these gifts is the most generous ever received by the respective campus. And importantly, these are unrestricted funds, which means these campuses are free to invest the money however they see fit to best meet the unique needs of their diverse students. In a recent blog post, Scott wrote, "Higher education is a proven pathway to opportunity. So we looked for 2- and 4-year institutions successfully educating students who come from communities that have been chronically underserved. As the nation's largest and most diverse 4-year public university, the CSU proudly serves as a stepladder to upward mobility for the less privileged. Through the transformative power of higher education, Scott's generosity will elevate the lives of California students and their families for generations to come. As CSUN's President Beck wisely stated, the CSU doesn't just change individual lives, we transform family trees. Our students will be the immediate benefactors of these funds through new services and support on campus that will help them attain their degrees. But California at large will also prosper by virtue of the ripple effect. With the graduation of the class of 2021, the CSU has reached the astounding milestone of 4 million living alumni. While many alumni have spread out across the globe, about 84% of them remain in California, with 1 in 10 of all workers in the state holding a CSU degree, contributing to the Golden State's recovery and sustained economic vitality. But the life-changing impact of higher education is even broader than that. Consider the far-reaching societal implications, which are too often overlooked. Those who have earned a college degree are more likely to donate to charity, twice as likely to volunteer, and 3 times as likely to serve as school, community, and religious leaders. They pay far more taxes over a lifetime, but are far less likely to rely on public services. College graduates are twice as likely to launch a small business. They're far more likely to pursue professional advancement, and they hold 90% of US patents. And the higher the education level, the higher the voting rate. In local, state, and federal elections, degree holders are far more willing to run for public office, contact their legislators, engage in grassroots movements, and attend civic meetings, investing in and shaping our democracy. So you can see why we are so grateful to philanthropists like Scott, whose donations allow us to educate our communities, states, and nations' future leaders. And she's in good company. For example, just yesterday, we celebrated the late Conrad Previs and the Conrad Previs Foundation and their collective and longstanding generosity, which for years has so powerfully benefited San Diego State and its students. And Mrs. Darlene Marcos Shiley and the Shiley Foundation for their gracious and consequential gifts to support CSU San Marcos, most notably through the establishment of the CSU Shiley Haynes Institute for Palliative Care. And today, we celebrate another transformative donation by one of our own, Trustee Jack McGrory. Here to provide details of this generous gift is San Diego State President Adela de la Torre. President de la Torre.
Thank you, Trustee Kimball, Chair Kimball. I want to take this opportunity to thank Trustee Jack McGrory for his recent commitment of $1 million to the School of Public Health at SDSU. This gift is for unrestricted use, which is, as you all know, is the best type of gift to receive, as it gives the academic leadership the latitude to deploy the resources in a manner that can have the greatest impact. The dollars will support both current use as well as an endowment. As many of you know, prior to Jack becoming a trustee, he has served San Diego State University in many ways, including as a lecturer in the School of Public Affairs for more than 20 years, a member of the Campanile Foundation Board of Directors, and as a donor to our Veterans Program, as a donor to our faculty research, student scholarships, the stadium, archaeological digs, internships, our new engineering and interdisciplinary sciences complex, and much more. Jack is currently the chair of the School of Public Affairs Task Force. I cannot overstate, we are so grateful to Jack for his extraordinary generosity, and we are so pleased he let us share this news and that others in our community might be inspired to give according to their own means. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you so much, President de la Torre. This is certainly exciting news. And on behalf of the entire board, thank you, Trustee McGrory. It's hard to find the words to express gratitude for actions such as these. Thank you doesn't seem to do it justice. Fortunately, we have the words of the Sufi mystic Rumi, whom Scott quoted in her blog post. A candle, as it diminishes, explains. Gathering more and more is not the way. Burn, become light and heat and help, melt. She might also have added another line from Rumi. A candle never loses any of its light while lighting up another candle. The support of philanthropists such as Mackenzie Scott, Conrad Previs, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and Trustee McGrory allow us to light candles across California, contributing to the success of our students and alumni for years to come. This morning, I also want to say a few words about another group who so powerfully contribute to our students' success, the CSU's world-class faculty. While I could give countless examples of their intellect and creativity, their cutting-edge research, or the ways they inspire and support our students to achieve their personal, academic, and professional goals, today I want to take a few moments to commend them for their adaptability and their remarkable efforts to continuously hone their skills for our students' benefit. First, I want to once again express my deep appreciation and admiration for our faculty for stepping up to meet the challenges of our massive pivot 15 months ago to online learning and support. One that saw the CSU transition more than 80,000 ongoing classes to virtual delivery. To ensure that the transition was seamless and the CSU learning experience remained robust, our faculty engaged in more than 250,000 hours of professional development just last summer alone. Indeed, a commitment to continuous improvement is part of our faculty's DNA. For example, this year, the CSU was selected to take part in a project with the National Association of System Heads, otherwise known as NASH, titled Scaling Instructional Excellence. As part of our participation, more than 500 faculty across 8 campuses have been taking the Association of College and University Educators Effective College Teaching course. CSUN's website devoted to this project features a video in which math professor Catherine Stevenson shares strategies she learned during the course with other CSU math faculty. Stevenson reveals how she incorporates journaling into the linear algebra course she teaches online to create community and deepen learning. Also, our Institute for Teaching and Learning has 2 fellows who are offering mental health first aid training online, which consists of an 8-hour workshop that teaches faculty how to recognize students in crisis and use listening techniques to provide validation and support while connecting them with further resources. Within the CSU, we are creating our own courses on unique strategies for teaching and supporting the success of first-generation college students. For example, 2 Cal State Fullerton professors designed the course Teaching first-generation college students across cultural strengths. This year, 50 faculty members from 10 campuses participated. And at Cal State LA, the Center for Effective Teaching and Learning developed the self-paced course called Remote Teaching, Teaching Our First-Generation College Students, which features first-generation faculty members and student voices. The center shared the modules so they can be used by faculty across the CSU. I'll be forever grateful for these efforts and so many more, conducted with enthusiasm, the aim of continuous improvement, a sense of intellectual curiosity, and an unwavering commitment to the CSU mission. To our faculty, thank you. And now, before I turn it over to Chancellor Castro for his report, I want to invite Interim Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs, Fred Wood, to share a few words. As many of you know, this is Dr. Wood's last board meeting in this role, and he would like to offer a few thoughts and reflections. Dr. Wood.
Thank you, Chair Kimbell, for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I did want to say just a few words before I step aside. First, I think you've got a great new EVC coming in Dr. Alva. She's going to be fabulous. So I was really pleased to be able to span or bridge, as was said earlier, these 2 great executive vice chancellors for you. You need to know I've had a blessed career. How many people can say that they were able to teach and serve as a senior administrator on all the institutions they attended as a student, or to help a small region that my mother was born in Minnesota, save a college? So it's been a blessing. But as Joe knows best, it's been a dream of mine for a long time. In fact, since I was a faculty member, to join the CSU because of its mission and its commitment to students. And so I just can't stress enough the great honor it's been for me and the great fun I've had for the past few months working with just some fabulous people. So thanks for giving me just a couple of minutes here to say thanks. First, I want to say thanks to the board for allowing me this opportunity, and know that your passion and your commitment to the CSU really shows and makes a difference. And I especially want to thank you for your questions, because it's your questions that make us better. So thank you so much for your service. I also want folks to know that it has been really a pleasure and a privilege to work with the senior leaders throughout this system. This includes, of course, the folks in the chancellor's councils, the vice chancellors and so forth, the presidents who do such great work, the provost and the vice presidents for student affairs that I've gotten to know. Just at every meeting, at every discussion, they are consistently demonstrate their commitment to serve others. It's not about them. They understand that. It's about others and helping others, and especially especially our students. So it was just a pleasure to work with them. I also want you to know that the folks who work in the academic and student affairs area are incredibly committed to be able to be side by side working with them for this period of time. They understand the honorable mission that we have, and they are absolutely committed to equitably ensuring that all of our students succeed. And I couldn't be prouder to complete, this circle with them. And then shared governance. I just want to say that, I've said this repeatedly, that I think every great university has great shared governance, and it's been inspirational for me to work with the faculty leaders in the academic senate and the student leaders in the CSSA and the associated students groups that we visited this period of time. They contribute so much to this important effort, and especially thanks to the students who really, every day inspired me to keep going and to do what I could to help. And then finally, my sincere thanks to Chancellor Castro for asking me to work with him again. We had great time when we were both younger, working together. But I need to know, and Michelle Kiss, I think, said this best one day. She said, we both have, and I enjoyed this, a front row seat to a master class in higher education leadership. My admiration, Joe, for you grows every day. And I witnessed again and again your commitment to the mission and the students of this great California State University. You're one of the only people on earth who could get me out of retirement. And it's hard to say no to Joe, that's for sure. So thank you all, and thank you, Joe, for allowing me to really live a dream come true for me to have this period of time. So thank you.
And thank you, Dr. Wood. Those were very moving remarks. And thank you for your extraordinary service to the CSU. Sometimes people associate an interim role with someone who steps in for a short time, essentially just to keep the trains running until the position is filled on a permanent basis, someone to keep the seat warm. In this case, nothing could be further from the truth. Out of retirement, Dr. Wood stepped up to serve as EVC during one of the most daunting and consequential moments in the university's history. And he provided wise, courageous, and compassionate leadership from day one. I believe that Chancellor Castro also has a few thoughts to share in this regard. So I will keep my remarks brief and simply close by saying thank you. I feel confident in speaking for the full board when I say that you have our enduring gratitude and respect. And Fred, we wish you and your family all the best. That concludes my report. I now turn it over to Chancellor Castro.
Thank you, Chair Kimball, for such an uplifting report this morning in so many ways. And thank you, Trustee McGrory, for your inspiring and truly transformational gift to San Jose State. Your remarkable legacy at SDSU and throughout the CSU continues to grow. And please accept my deepest gratitude for your vision, your generosity, and your commitment to our mission. And Trustee McGrory, I also want to thank you for your support in Sacramento. It's very important throughout the process, and very grateful for that.
Thanks, John.
And Dr. Wood, I echo Chair Kimball's sentiments, of course, and as she mentioned, I do have some additional thoughts I'll share momentarily. I want to begin my remarks by commending the members of the Graduation Initiative 2025 Advisory Committee for their outstanding and dedicated work. Forming that committee was one of my first acts as chancellor back in January, and their charge was to develop recommendations, bold recommendations, that would not only maintain but accelerate our progress toward GI 2025's ambitious goals of improving graduation rates and particularly closing those stubborn equity gaps. And they have met our very high expectations in their work. I have every confidence that the committee's recommendations will be invaluable in guiding and informing our work to completely and permanently eliminate equity gaps for first-generation students, students of color, and Pell Grant eligible students across our 23 campuses. In addition to the recommendations themselves, I've been impressed by the committee's emphasis on accountability. And I say accountability not in any punitive sense, but rather in a responsibility or ownership sense. The work before us is definitely very hard. It will require that every stakeholder, every student touch point, from faculty to advisors to administrators to campus presidents, and to me as your chancellor, to take daily, mindful, personal, deeply personal responsibility for proactively seeking out and removing barriers to success for our most vulnerable students. And I believe the true value of these recommendations, the key to their success, is in their strategic implementation so that their beneficial impact is felt most powerfully by those who need it the very most. And I can't say exactly what that will look like right now. Maybe it's a digital degree planner tailored precisely to meet the needs of students in our EOP program, Educational Opportunity Program. I was a student in that program many years ago. And maybe it's refining our analytics system so that we identify not only courses with high non-passage rates, but also those in which there are significant grade gaps for students of color, low-income students, and first-generation students, and then using those revelations to advance and achieve equity. Carefully tailored and strategically targeted interventions will be absolutely critical, and it will require work at both the campus and the system-wide levels that mirrors the work of the advisory committee itself, bringing diverse groups of stakeholders together to think boldly and creatively to ensure that students of all backgrounds have the equal opportunity to earn the lifelong and life-transforming benefits of a Cal State degree. Thank you, members of the committee, for your dedicated and vital work. We know that one high-impact way to advance educational equity and student success is to help our students bridge the digital divide. And just 2 days ago, we announced an initiative that I believe has the potential to be a national model in this regard. Of course, any higher education initiative needs a good acronym. We're very good at that, and this one will not disappoint. Pronounced C Success, it is short for the California State University Connectivity Contributing to Equity and Student Success. And the initial phase will be launched this fall at 8 CSU campuses. Through C Success, every incoming first year or transfer student at those campuses will have the opportunity to receive completely free of charge a new iPad Air, Apple Pencil, and Apple Smart Keyboard Folio, which will be theirs to use for the entirety of their CSU undergraduate college experience. To participate, students simply indicate interest via their campus website. The cost of this new high-quality, reliable mobile computing equipment is significantly lower than the $900 retail price, thanks to our partnership with leaders at Apple. And as we explore funding sources for subsequent phases of C Success, the cost of the equipment in the first phase will be covered by savings and reserves accumulated over time for new programs, reimbursements for revenue lost during the pandemic via federal higher education emergency relief funds, and investments in the CSU by the state as part of the 2022 budget. We will carefully track the program's impact on retention and graduation rates, and through experiential research with student participants. I have every confidence that C Success will prove not only to be well received by our students, but a game changer, truly a game changer in terms of student success, especially for our most vulnerable students. In addition, participating students will develop familiarity and expertise with many of the tools and applications that will be essential to their future successful careers. With the potential to reach 35,000 students this fall, it will be the CSU's largest device distribution program, and I hope that its positive impact will inspire other campuses across the CSU to join future phases. I want to thank and recognize those campuses and their bold leaders who stepped up and taken a risk with me to participate in the rollout of phase 1. Bakersfield, Channel Islands, Fresno, Humboldt, Los Angeles, Cal Maritime, Northridge, and San Marcos. Thank you so much. There are 2 additional topics that I want to address this morning. First, my virtual tour of CSU campuses continues. And since our last meeting, I've had the pleasure of visiting Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. And from the extraordinary introductory video, I was shown, oh my gosh, we need to show that, Jeff, to others. Through the day's meetings with various campus stakeholders and constituencies, and especially in an engaging conversation that I had with such thoughtful faculty leaders. I was struck by the same impression, how the campus so powerfully embodies the intersection of academic excellence and inclusivity across the focused polytechnic programming that makes Cal Poly San Luis Obispo so special. I was also impressed by how the campus has strengthened transfer pathways and other linkages. I know President Armstrong and his colleagues have big plans with Allen Hancock College in particular, just a few miles down the 101 freeway. Cal Poly is rightly known and respected for attracting a statewide and national student body, but it's also working hard to serve students even more effectively within its region. And I want to commend President Armstrong and his team for this important work, and to thank everyone at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for organizing a productive, enlightening, and thoroughly enjoyable day. The only way it would have been better if I could have done it in person, but I will do that next time. In closing, I want to again congratulate Dr. Sylvia Alva and welcome her to the Chancellor's Office and her new role as Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic and Student Affairs. I couldn't be more pleased that the CSU and our students, faculty, and staff will be able to benefit from the breadth and depth of Dr. Alva's experience, as well as her laser focus on student success and demonstrated commitment to educational equity. I also want to offer my heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Dr. Fred Wood, who has served so ably as interim executive vice chancellor. And as he said to you, I called him about this job, and he was in a secluded and remote area of Eastern Oregon, out for a walk with his oldest grandson. And I'm grateful that there was good enough cell phone reception for us that day. I'm so grateful for the patience and generosity of Dr. Wood's family and sharing him with all of us, and for his willingness to return to duty for the benefit of the CSU and its students in the midst of perhaps the most challenging moment in the university's 61-year history. Dr. Wood met that challenge with brilliance, courage, and eagerness to authentically listen, and great empathy. He's got a huge heart. great empathy for students, faculty, and staff alike. Dr. Wood has shared with me, and I think you heard a little bit about this earlier, that he'd always hoped to spend part of his career at the CSU. And our students, our work, our mission have always resonated powerfully with him. But as so often happens in life, opportunity and availability never quite aligned until January. And Dr. Wood enjoyed an enormously successful career with leadership positions at UC Davis, the University of Minnesota Crookston, and the Contra Costa Community College District, where he served as chancellor before retiring in 2019. But then his Cal State moment arrived in the darkest days of our pandemic in the form of an unexpected phone call to remote and rugged Eastern Oregon. And Dr. Wood has met that moment, and his consequential leadership will positively impact the CSU and its students for many years to come. On behalf of the entire Cal State community, thank you, brother, Dr. Wood, for everything that you've done for us. And I know we're going to continue to stay in touch. Chair Kimball, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chancellor Castro. We will now hear from President of the Academic Senate of the CSU, Dr. Robert Keith Collins, to provide his report.
Thank you, Chair Kimball, and thank you very much for your acknowledgement of the indefatigable faculty of the CSU. And good morning to you all. I hope that all is well, everyone is doing well and staying healthy. It's an honor to offer this report to the CSU Board of Trustees on behalf of the dedicated senators of the Academic Senate CSU. My name is Robert Keith Collins, and I have the honor of serving as the 2021-22 chair of the Academic Senate CSU. I'm also a professor of American Indian Studies in the College of Ethnic Studies at San Francisco State University. Quote, "Peace cannot exist without justice. Justice cannot exist without fairness. Fairness cannot exist without development. Development cannot exist without democracy. Democracy cannot exist without respect for the identity and worth of cultures and peoples," end quote. When Quiché Mayan social reform activist, human rights worker, and 1992 Nobel Peace Prize winner Rigoberta Menchú shared these words, her goals were not only to bring attention to Native American rights, but also the need for ethnocultural reconciliation, which by definition is the process of public acknowledgement of racial and social injustices. Menchú's assertions map directly to the concerns of the respected California Native, first stewards and caretakers of the lands upon which our institutions of higher learning reside, and the goal of enabling belonging in the CSU that will guide the ASCSU efforts during the 2021-22 academic year. If we allow Menchú's words to serve as a maxim, then it is through our continued common unity, with attention to respect for the identity and worth of cultures and peoples of our CSU community, especially our faculty who enable student success, that our students, representing the 23 different definitions of success that define our campuses, will embody the informed citizenry necessary to convey this powerful maxim as a way of life into the academy, infrastructure, and workforce of the state of California. Their success as seen in our graduates that make up our CSU Alumni Council remind all that education is a vehicle for allowing all to be and enabling all within society to belong. It is in the spirit of enabling belonging that guides our planning for the 2021-22 academic year. The ASCSU serves as the official voice of the faculty in matters of system-wide concern and provides avenues for faculty to participate in collegial forms of shared governance, which is grounded in academic traditions recognized by HERA. This year, we will continue our dedication to equity, diversity, and inclusivity through another diversity training, thanks to the indefatigable efforts of at-large Senator to the Executive Committee Nola Butler-Byrd of San Diego State University, who joins me remotely, and our ad hoc committee on the advancement of equity, diversity, and inclusion in the ASCSU, preceding our September plenary. As a reminder, our 2021-22 Executive Committee includes the following senators. As Vice Chair, Beth Steffel of San Bernardino, Secretary Tom Norman of Dominguez Hills, Member at Large 1, Nola Butler Bird of San Diego State University, Member at Large number 2, Dr. David Speak, Cal Poly Pomona, and as chair myself. Unfortunately, we are without an immediate past chair who rotates out as of this year. However, we will endeavor to channel our inner notorious immediate past chair, Catherine Nelson, when times get hard. It is also an honor to report that our newly appointed ASCSU Standing Committee chairs, who will comprise our ASCSU Extended Executive Committee, are represented by the following senators. Chair of Academic Affairs, Senator Simon Rodan of San Jose State University, Academic Preparations and Educational Programs Committee Chair, Senator Rick Ford of Chico State. Faculty Affairs Committee Chair, Senator Irene Matz of Cal State Fullerton, as well as our Fiscal and Governmental Affairs Chair, Senator Betsy Boyd of Chico State. In September, I will have the honor of welcoming one of the most diverse Senate bodies since the founding of the ASCSU in 1963. Functioning as the consultative body on system-wide matters related to academic personnel, faculty success, professional development, this inclusive team of senators elected by their colleagues at the 23 individual universities comprising the CSU will, as per our mission, advance the principles of academic freedom and freedom of inquiry that promotes academic excellence in the CSU. We will recommend policies to the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor's Office on system-wide academic, professional, and academic personnel matters, as well as serve as the official voice of the faculty of the CSU on curricular matters of system-wide concern. And lastly, serve as the primary consultative body on the academic implementation of system-wide fiscal decisions. 4 major areas of discussion and engagement will be advising, CAST, mental health, and faculty diversity. And these conversations hopefully will include all of our stakeholders, and we seek your advice as we engage in these conversations to ensure equity in the system, but most importantly, that faculty are able to convert this into curriculum. All past and forthcoming ASCSU resolutions, senator information, especially on our standing committees, as well as any white papers that we have produced, can be found on our website, thanks to our office staff, Director Butler, as well as Ms. Osman. The 2021-22 ASCSU will begin its work in September, and acting on behalf of the ASCSU, during the summer, the ASCSU Executive Committee met on July 7th. Central in this meeting was the approval and discussion of the ASCSU Standing Committee rosters, as well as system-wide committee rosters, and brainstorming on our upcoming ASCSU Chancellor's Office retreat on enabling belonging in the CSU on August 25th, 2021. The ASCSU Executive Committee continues active consultation with interim EVC Wood, as well as AVC Van Cleve, on best practices in collaboration and effective communication to pass on to incoming EVC Alva. EVC Alva, congratulations. We look forward to welcoming and working with you during our ASCSU plenaries. The ASCSU Executive Committee also discussed and explored strategies for how the Senate might begin legislative advocacy early this fall in order to better serve as a resource on curricular matters to the CSU in general, as well as in Sacramento. Also of central concern, the ASCSU Executive Committees of 2020-21 and 21-22 have shared with legislators and stakeholders our opposed position on AB 927 and opposed unless amended position on AB 928. The ASCSU also met with legislators and their staff regarding these concerns and offered amendments to the legislation. As members of ICUS, the Intersegmental Committee of Academic Senates, which consists of the Academic Senate leadership from each of the 3 segments of public higher education in California, the CCC, CSU, and UC, and meets jointly to address matters of academic importance to all 3 segments, we support the current opposed position to AB 928. As the outgoing ICUS chair, I have also shared this position on behalf of all 3 segments of higher education in the state of California. The rationale behind this opposition to AB 928 is that the proposed oversight board reproduces the work of ICUS, the Intersegmental Curriculum Work Group, IGETC Standards Subcommittee, as well as the Chancellor's General Education Advisory Committee and other established intersegmental committees currently enabling transfer efficiency. The formation of the legislation occurred with limited faculty consultation on curricular matters to be impacted by the legislation and barriers to student success and transfer efficiency, that a common pathway between the CSU and UC seeks to remedy will be exacerbated without adequate supports for advising. Transfer is not broken. It is underfunded, especially in the area of student advising. The California Community College's Associate Degrees for Transfer has seen a steady increase in student use of the ADTs, with approximately 29% of transferring students utilizing the ADT in fall of 2016 to 46% of transfer students utilizing the ADT in fall 2020. At the CSU, the 2-year transfer graduation rate is currently 44%. Our GI 2025 goal is 45%. The 4-year graduation rate is 79%. Our 2025 goal is 85%. In the CSU, faculty that does not add their unit load. The Intersegmental General Education Transfer Curriculum, or IGETC, provides this. The CSU transfer pathway is for those students that know they want to attend the CSU. Without amendment, with particular attention to UC constitutional autonomy, could not the unique functions of IGETC and CSU transfer be obscured? Let us all ponder this question, as the faculty in all 3 segments have done, especially the ASCSU. CSU transfer is indelibly linked to our distinction from the UC and the 23 different interpretations of access that occur within our system as faculty produce graduates according to the aims and values of their respective campus communities and cultures. In closing, the ASCSU will meet again on behalf of the ASCSU on July 23rd, 2021. Central in this meeting will be discussions of hybrid meeting formats, improving outreach to academic discipline councils, continued monitoring of AB 1460 implementation, the relationship between faculty diversity and tenure density, planning for the September plenary, and planning of our ASCSU Chancellor's Office Leadership Retreat on the tentative theme of enabling belonging in the CSU. And please note that this theme is only tentative because the subtitle will map to the expertise of the members of the ASCSU Executive Committee, who will be paired with the standing committee chairs to engage areas of their expertise. The goal of this retreat is to strategize on collaborations necessary to enable faculty and student success, as well as belonging among those two and staff as well. In the face of COVID-19, and with particular attention to the Graduation Initiative 2025 pillar of student engagement and well-being. Let us all come together to strategize on the enabling components necessary to empower graduates to carry forward Minshu's maxim of understanding that an informed citizenry like, quote, democracy cannot exist without respect for the identity and worth of cultures and peoples, end quote. Chair Kimbell, this concludes my report. AVC Hong, mahalo nui loa. I don't like to see you go. And I've known you for a while and you know why. Interim EVC Wood, just thank you. Trustee Kames, congratulations and thank you. And to you all, it has truly been an honor to work with each and every one of you. Welcome new trustees. The ASCSU looks forward to getting to know all of you. I thank you all for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, Dr. Collins. Moving on to our next report. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome new CSSA President Isaac Alferos. Correct me if I didn't pronounce it correctly, to provide his first report.
Yes, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, Chair Kimball, Chancellor Castro, and our General Board of Trustees. My name is Isaac Alferos, and I have the unique honor and privilege of serving as the 2021-2022 President of the Cal State Student Association. As this virtual environment is the first time many of us are meeting, I thought it would start off by taking a moment to introduce myself. So I am a rising senior at Cal State Fullerton, studying business administration with a concentration in finance. I am a proud descendant of sharecroppers and immigrants raised in Buena Park, California, and have a passion for community development through social and educational policy. Though I'm new to this role, I've been a dedicated and passionate advocate for educational accessibility and equity since before I came to know the CSU as my home. Coming into our system, I brought with me the experience of organizing in my community, working with local leaders for increased investments into education, and mentoring other young leaders to embody the change we know our community needs. At Cal State Fullerton, I joined student government where I work to expand our understanding of civic engagement and share the stories of my community and the work that I do. And I've spent my last year serving as the executive director of my own co-op, the Black and Brown Healing Project, and as the commissioner on the California Student Aid Commission. It is truly an honor to serve in this capacity, but I'd be remiss if I did not also recognize the incredible leaders that I will be serving alongside this year. Joining me, I have the honor of serving alongside the continuing leadership of our former Vice President of Legislative Affairs and our new chair of our Board of Directors, Guan Liu. Guan is a third-year student at SDSU studying political science and history, and I'm confident that he will be a dedicated leader in serving our board this year. Additionally, I'm joined by Fabiola Moreno, a fellow SDSU student studying political science with a minor in public administration as our Vice President of System-Wide Affairs. Fabi brings with her an unwavering commitment to student success, and I'm excited to see her ongoing engagement to ensure that students are a proactive voice in decision-making in the CSU. Our Vice President of Leg Affairs is Krishan Malhotra, a rising third year at Stanislaus State studying business with a concentration in marketing, who brings with him the commitment and experience of engaging in legislative action on behalf of our students. And last, but certainly not least, is our Vice President of Finance, Anthony Ruiz, who is rising as a second-year MBA student at Chico State. Anthony's experience in financial literacy, married with his passion for supporting students, makes him a huge asset for our organization and one that I am truly proud to work with. But all of these execs are incredible leaders and advocates for students whose passion and commitment make me even prouder to lead them. Additionally, I must acknowledge and thank my predecessor, Zara Karabit, for her ongoing dedication to serving students. As many of you came to know Zara as a steadfast advocate for higher education equity, I have had the privilege of knowing her as a friend and a mentor, one who has truly elevated this position through her knowledge, commitment, and empathy. I could not be here today without her, and there is truly no other leader I would rather take up the mantle from. I also want to acknowledge and thank Dr. Londea Jose for presenting and continuing to inform us all on the work being done by the Governor's Office and the Recover with Equity report. CSSA has appreciated getting to work closely with you, Dr. Jose, and we look forward to continuing to partner with you and the Governor on efforts like that of basic needs, college affordability, internet access for students, and other equity efforts. On the topic of college affordability, I would be remiss not to mention and applaud the Governor and the legislature's historic investment in the Cal Grant system. For so many of our students, receiving a Cal Grant is life-changing and means they'll be able to pursue a degree at the CSU. Students have fought tirelessly to highlight the need for increased investment and reform in the system for years, and we are thrilled to see our hard work pay off in this year's budget. With that said, CSSA remains committed to advocating for comprehensive reform that ensures that the state of California equitably serves the largest number of students possible. I would also like to recognize the incredibly successful year in our budget advocacy efforts. This year, all of the CSU stakeholders worked more collaboratively than ever, which is a testament to the leadership of Chancellor Castro, Vice Chancellor Larry Salinas, Assistant Vice Chancellor Nicole Munoz Murillo, Assistant Vice Chancellor Ryan Storm, and Senior Advisor Jaisu Prasert, On behalf of all CSU students, thank you for your advocacy this past year to ensure that our students and our system receive the level of investment that we needed, and we look forward to another great year of collaborative advocacy. Stepping into this role, I'm excited to continue the efforts of my predecessors and strategically advance the student voice in such a critical time. As president, I see the data outlining the high needs areas of our most vulnerable students. But as a student, I know the stories beyond those numbers as well. These stories are not only the narratives of our most resilient students, but are also a crucial reminder of the students our decisions impact. With this, I'd like to introduce you to the stories of a few of our students. Our first student hails from Santa Ana, just down the street, coming to our system in 2018. He was raised by a single mother, spending free time helping raise his siblings and support his family. He graduated high school and was admitted into the CSU with the special distinction of first-generation student. It was in our system that he was granted home through a scholarship program specifically designed for men of color like himself. He found funding, but beyond that, he found camaraderie. But because our system is imperfect, and the road to equity cannot be paved by funding alone, our student grappled with the hardest piece of his college career, feeding himself. His campus lacked the resources he needed to feed and house himself, and he couldn't take on more hours at work without falling behind in his academic career. So struggling and worn out, our student dropped out his third semester of college to focus on working enough to support himself. Another student that I know finds themselves in our system with a different title of distinction. He is one of the 4% of Black students who make it into our CSU. With this comes specific opportunities like the enriching experience of our campus's NAACPs and BSUs who help build home for those of us who are few and far between. This student lives on campus, but can't find a home here in the same way other students do. This is because he must call his RA for weekly escorts to do his laundry, as his previous attempts to do this alone left him stopped and questioned by university police who couldn't conceive that this Black man was simply trying to do his laundry on a campus he pays to attend. I share this with you all because it highlights a critical issue our system faces. One where students who have miraculously scaled the mountains of inequity to get to our campuses find that what lies before them feels a little too familiar. Their stories are reflective of the hidden inequities of our system, or hidden to those of us who haven't experienced it. And as an organization founded in equity, CSSA is committed to meeting our students where they are and building broader investments into these critical areas. As a result, I am proud to lead our organization in our ongoing advocacy to support students' basic needs. This effort is inclusive of the ever-expansive definition, going beyond addressing purely housing and food insecurity, to addressing the digital divide, access to mental health resources, and all barriers to student success. Within this, I'm excited to work alongside Chancellor Castro, a longtime advocate for expanding basic needs support on developing these critical infrastructures needed system-wide. Additionally, I seek to build upon the conversation started by my predecessors on our ongoing effort to reimagine campus safety. As a man of color in America, I know too intimately the realities of racism in our country, and I'm ashamed that we would give home to institutions whose shared history is rooted in that racism as well. Within this, it is critical that we seek out a dialogue that allows us to reimagine broader campus safety and ensure that our ongoing focus is the equitable quality education of our students, as no system can truly tout its diversity if it cannot ensure its diverse students an equally supportive and affirmative environment. In this, I must applaud the existing efforts around these critical areas, as well as the leadership spearheading broader change needed to support our students. I appreciate the Chancellor's encouragement of student input on UPD oversight committees and want to reaffirm the need for holistic evaluation and shift in our broader campus safety systems. Ultimately, CSSA stands firm in our founding values and ongoing commitment to educational equity and sustainability, and will continue to work alongside system-wide leaders to ensure that our campuses are reflective of these critical needs. Representing the official voice of CSU students, I must convey that our basic needs and campus safety infrastructures need renewed leadership that seeks to build new systems oriented towards student success, health, and safety that are worthy of investing into. As president of an organization founded in equity, I must highlight the need for equity-based solutions that center on minoritized and marginalized students. And as a student, I wish to reiterate the urgency within which we must move by recognizing that today, it is my friends and my peers who are starving, who are homeless, who are over-policed and under-supported, all while remaining steadfast in their educational achievement. That being said, I intend to continue advocacy on these critical issues this year and look forward to working alongside our CSU leadership as a partner in thought, execution, and evaluation to ensure that our system is an accessible, equitable, and affordable one. With that, Chair Kimball, that concludes my report.
You're muted, Lily. Thank you, Isaac. I look forward to working with you and hopefully meeting you in September in person. Now I would like to extend a welcome to Jeremy Addis Mills, new president of the CSU Alumni Council, as he provides his first report. Jeremy?
Thank you, Chair Kimball. So my name is Jeremy Addis Mills. I'm the new incoming Alumni Council President. We have a new board that transitioned over, a new executive committee that transitioned over on July 1st. So we're really, really excited to be here, and we really appreciate the previous leadership under President Michelle Powers and look forward to continuing to work with her as she maintains a role as our immediate past president on the Alumni Council. I'm an alumni of California State University San Marcos with a major major in women's studies and political science back in 2007. And I've been involved in the Alumni Council for about the last 8 or 9 years at the statewide level and involved in the Alumni Association on my campus. Previously, before that, while I was in school, I was a CSSA executive member in 2006, 2007, so very familiar with the statewide advocacy work that organization does, and I'm extremely proud of my involvement with them when I was a student, as well as I was an ASI executive at that same time. The CSU, the reason why I continue to be involved in the CSU is I think really my CSU experience at San Marcos, especially a campus that was small and growing at the time, really sort of changed the trajectory of my life. My career, where I was going and what I was planning to do in my life was not the same as where I ended up after going through Cal State San Marcos. A ton of the professors, I learned what I wanted to do. And so I continue to maintain my involvement because I believe that public accessible higher education is the key to success for so many, including myself. So on behalf of our 4 million CSU alumni, we want to extend our appreciation to Governor Newsom and the state legislature for their historic investments in the CSU. We thought it was amazing this year what we received, and a special thanks to the CSU advocacy and state relations team, especially Nicole Munoz Murillo, and Shafali Mystery for their tireless efforts and for their effectively involving us as alumni in their advocacy work. We were very actively involved last year, and it's one of the big pushes for the alumni councils to just more actively be engaged in advocacy in Sacramento through our local elected officials. As Michelle Power stated in her last report, we basically participated in a lot of communications with issuing letters and doing other things on behalf of the alumni. The power was abundantly clear at the virtual system-wide alumni events that we hosted last month with alumni from the New York State tri-state area and the Washington, D.C. area. Alumni were invited to share their stories, and we heard their experiences as returning students, first-generation students, traditional students, president scholars, and financial aid recipients. Although no student has the exact same journey, we all saw a bit of ourselves in each of these stories and left the event feeling inspired and proud than ever to be made in the CSU. We are working to collect these stories to further highlight the class of 4 million and the impact and accessible higher education, accessible high quality education at the CSU has had on their lives. We will continue to share these stories with you in our future reports. Thank you, Chair Kimball. This concludes my report.
Thank you all for your reports. It's now time for the board to consider the items listed on today's consent agenda. All of the committee items requiring full board approval are listed on the consent agenda. Trustees, again, at this time, please ensure that you unmute your audio. Does any trustee wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? Okay, I'm not seeing any. May I have a motion to approve the items listed on the consent agenda?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Ms. Matthews, please take a roll call vote.
Trustee Adamson,
Yes.
Trustee Arambula,
Yes.
Trustee Carney,
Yes.
Chancellor Castro,
Yes.
Trustee Clark,
Yes.
Trustee Day,
Yes.
Trustee Fagan,
Yes.
Trustee Farrar,
Yes.
Trustee Furstenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Fong,
Yes.
Chair Kimball,
Yes.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis,
Aye.
Trustee McGrory,
Yes.
Governor Newsom, Trustee Ortiz-Morfit,
Yes.
Trustee Reyes,
Yes.
Speaker Rendon, Trustee Sebelius,
Yes.
Trustee Simon, Trustee Steinhauser,
Yes.
Superintendent Thurman. The motion passes.
The items listed on the consent agenda are approved. This concludes the business of the July 2021 meeting of the Board of Trustees. The board will now adjourn into closed session to discuss executive personnel matters. The board will reconvene for its next scheduled meeting on September 14th and 15th, 2021. Notice of the meeting will go out in the ordinary due course 10 days in advance of the meeting. Thank you and goodbye.
Live stream. Please adjust your audio accordingly. This is the California State University